Hello and welcome to The Great Cosmic Shift with Cyrus Kirkpatrick, and I am your host, Cyrus Kirkpatrick. And on this video, we are actually going to do a channeling session. Now, these channeling sessions are a big part of my work now, and before we begin, I think it's valuable to remember what is happening, which is I'm using what's called telepathic mental syncing. And this technique, well, it's practiced all over the world by shamans and mediums and telepaths. Well, it's also practiced in higher universes. Um, Essentially, it is mediumship, but I am working on a slightly different scale where I'm using a kind of subconscious prompting method to communicate directly into people's minds that enables a two-way communication that is very clear. We can call this clairaudience, but it is so clear, it is something similar to a telephone call. And it does take practice to develop the skill, but people can develop it at home through connecting with spirit guides. For example, I prefer the Arcturians because they are very friendly people. And creating a subconscious prompt, such as connect me to an Arcturian spirit guide who knows me, or anything like that. Pretend you're writing it on a book, for example, and then you write the note on a book and you bring it into your mind like this and stay very quiet, very still, and begin to feel and notice the presence of somebody around you. Now, this technique can then develop into a two-way communication that you can practice with people even on this world. With that said, we are going to do a channeling session tonight where I can actually change it so that my brain waves are deeply interconnected with the communicator, and I can speak as the communicator by going into a slight trance, whereupon my consciousness is kind of up here someplace, and I invite the consciousness of my communicator to kind of take over this part. So instead of a two-way communication, they are now simply speaking as me. So once again, this is the Great Cosmic Shift. This is the first channeling session. It's going to be a lot more to come. And basically, let's just say this is a new channel. My old channel is Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. If you're coming from the old channel, if you don't know where I've been for so long, if you're, for example, a patron, please email me at cosmicshiftawakening@gmail.com. The email is in the description down below, and I'll get back to you because I was hacked. So I have no access to my Afterlife Topics YouTube page. I have no access to my Afterlife Topics patron page. So if you are a patron who wants to get in touch with me to do any of the patron services like one-on-one contact or one-on-one sessions, things like that, please let me know because I've been basically away for about the last 9 months. But now I'm back, and so I do apologize for that. So please contact me, cosmicshiftawakening@gmail.com, until I gain access to my old channel. But this new channel, we are talking about the shift and communications to higher density beings. And tonight we actually have a guy named Jim. Jim has been my spirit guide since I was born. Jim actually is someone who has been in that invisible spectrum of reality, watching over me along with a couple of primary spirit guides, including a man named Takayama Sensei, a Japanese man. And Jim has made his presence known in my life a lot throughout my life. And when my mental syncing skills came to light, guess who made an appearance? Jim did. Now, Jim is in our world and he lives in Tempe, Arizona. So why don't I just call Jim up and talk to him? Well, I have Jim's Facebook page. I have all of that. Well, it's not that simple. So we're going to elucidate. Is that a word? Gosh, I need to brush up on my English skills. I don't remember. We can illuminate that subject tonight by talking to Jim, with me going into a slight trance and allowing him just to talk through me, including a little bit about who Jim is and what's going on in the magical reality known as Tempe, Arizona. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and begin my mental syncing session. So here we go. Okay, I am in contact with Jim in Tempe, Arizona. And I can now, hello Jim, hello Cyrus. Okay, I'm syncing up, so it's going to be him talking, not me. I will be able to split off sometimes, especially if you see my eyes opening. Suddenly that'll be me where I can ask him questions. Now don't forget, it is possible if you go in the comments, if you really want to ask Jim something, then go ahead and go in the comments and post a question, and I will be able to get back to you. Potentially. Only potentially. But I will go through comments. If somebody addresses something to Jim, then I can respond back. Okay. Okay, Jim, are you ready? Okay, I'm now going to begin talking as Jim. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Hello everybody, this is Jim. My last name is unknown because I don't want people bugging me on Facebook. The question on people's minds right now might be, is this actually real? Is Cyrus talking as me? The answer is yes. But where am I? I'm in around Tempe, Arizona. Now, Cyrus, do you have any questions for me so you can practice asking me questions and switching between modalities? Hello, Jim. Okay, can you tell the audience a little bit about what you do in Tempe and how you got started as a spirit guide for people? Okay. All right, Cyrus. Jim talking again. Okay, we are synchronized. Boom. So it sounds strange, but I am actually sitting at my computer in Tempe, Arizona. Now the funny thing is, Cyrus, so this is actually me scratching my nose, because to the audience who are wondering, once it is someone talking through Cyrus, everything is shared. It's basically me operating as Cyrus's body. It happens naturally. This is the power of mental syncing. Let us say this. The Hopi Indians do it, the Navajo do it, the Cherokee do it, Choctaw, all the Native American tribes do this. They do it ceremonially, but they also do it easily because they are our elders and they understand all of this. And it's important for people to realize how common this power actually is among those who have this power. And so if I'm moving my hands, this is actually me doing it. And the funny thing is that I'm actually at my house, which is about I would say 95 miles north of where Cyrus is right now, and I'm moving my hand around the same. It is the natural way that people can, in a sense, swap bodies a little bit. That's what makes it fun and interesting, and also, let us say, especially in the context of, let's say, people who have, like, when it comes to, bros and buddies like me and Cyrus, it's really fun. But let's say if I am doing this with my girlfriend, it becomes very intimate, so there's different modalities of this type of communication, which makes it so important. But it is also mediumship as well. So mediumship is often a less advanced form of this type of communication, because mediumship is sometimes a faint voice, but when you develop mediumship one level higher, it's now mental syncing. So Cyrus is actually performing mediumship with me 95 miles or so. I'll have to check Google Maps, north of where Cyrus is right now. So let Cyrus catch his breath for a moment, or me breathing as Cyrus, because it's a little bit stuffy. Cyrus is just a tiny bit asthmatic after it rains. That's better. So, am I possessing Cyrus? The answer is sort of yes, I am, because Cyrus is shut off. I am speaking as Cyrus, and this is how it will go on this very exciting YouTube channel. I'll try not to talk everyone's ears off. A little bit about me then. How am I so good at mental syncing and telepathy? How is it that Cyrus has my Facebook page and all of that, but we cannot directly interact? Well, this is the problem, isn't it? It's called the collective consciousness. So how is it that Cyrus is able to know me? We share the same planet together, but it's actually mediumship. So Cyrus is connecting me to there. Oh, because there's so many misconceptions. Because it's mediums can only contact the spirit plane. Well, we are in the spirit plane. That's it. We are in the spirit world right now. It's just we are in this gradient into the physicality section. So there is no. This is if you're hearing about the teachings of Jim and Cyrus, be sure to cut me off up in this part of your brain if you want to ask me anything. There is no, shall we say, great difference. Oh, the world of matter, the world of spirit. No. It's all the same reality. There's just different modalities. As I said again, there's different frequencies, different elements of both. We have to understand that. Okay. Boy, this is exciting. I was with Cyrus when he was a young man, first beginning to learn about the afterlife. He just didn't know I was kind of creeping around in his mind, helping encourage him along on that path, because it became a very, very important path for actually many people. So Cyrus, I don't want to embarrass you with me speaking through you right now, but yes, I'm just at my home. Now I actually own a house. I would say I'm about 25 minutes by car to the Arizona State University campus. And a little bit about Jim. Well, I work actually in drop shipping, basically. So I do a lot of work in, for example, electronics, usually Chinese-made electronics, and I sell them on the internet. Okay, Jim, this is Cyrus. So can you tell us more about the work that you do in drop shipping, and how does that, what does that do for your life? And 1, 2, 3, and okay, this is again Jim talking. Well, thank you, Cyrus. You see, I prefer to work at home. You'd be surprised how well businesses like that can actually, shall we say, keep you out of the system so you can live a more free life, even though so much of my life is spent boxing up crap from China and sending it out. But don't forget, it's not actually crap, because I actually sell. Funny thing is, Cyrus, this webcam you just purchased at Best Buy, I buy those about $10 a pop, and I'll resell them at about $35 a pop. So overall, a good month could bring me in, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, which is good because my overhead is pretty bad these days. I'm also divorced, and I do pay child support as well. That's my ex-wife kind of has my kid, and this is a real issue with me right now. Cyrus knows this because he's seen my Facebook page and knows what this is all about. Of course, when I'm not dealing with all this and dealing with my life up here in Tempe as a middle-aged white dude, just going about things in a pretty darn generic way, I am also heavily engaged in the spirit reality, as it's called, but also the higher realities. Now, I think Cyrus needs to possibly burp. Oh, I guess he doesn't. Now, this is actually me scratching my nose, because when your brain waves are synchronized with someone else's, whoever is the primary source ends up is taking over someone else's body a little bit. It's all done very consensually, and it's, shall we say, the kind of thing that's going to explode all over the world as people begin doing this. So here's the deal. So when can I drive down and knock on Cyrus's door? Well, that's the big question, because that's actually called the shift. That's called the Great Cosmic Shift. When the Great Cosmic Shift happens, then what that means is that I'll be able to come and do that. Now, why can I not do that right now? I cannot do that right now because I am what's called a spaceman. As a spaceman, I have a memory structure of my real age, which is just under 7 million years old. So I'm from a world called Magalas, and this world of Magalas is not from your universe. And I put myself into your world because your world needed help. And I found Cyrus because I'm thinking, well, there needs to be a new generation out there to help, so I'm going to sneak into Cyrus's life. When did I do this? Well, it's already spliced into your world. So 1986. and I was kind of fresh out of college back then. However, I was also exploring through the spirit reality. Well, how do you do that? Funny enough, somebody over on Cyrus's community on Facebook, which you should join if you haven't joined yet, it's called Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, well, because this really helps right now. It helps Cyrus as well right now. So I was actually asking, it's like, or it was somebody was presenting some kind of a argument that, well, this can't be real, because how can you communicate to somebody who is living on Earth, because it's not the spirit reality? Well, this is I want to curse, but I can't because of, what is it, the YouTube censors, right? They don't want you to say naughty words. But you see, everybody, this is such a misconception. Anyone can be anywhere and operating the spirit reality. How you just project your mind out into it, and you can do it very easily, or you can have what they call an out-of-body experience, or if you're like me, you can do out-of-body experiences like that. And you can just go straight on over and do stuff in the spirit reality, which is this great, because I'm a computer video game guy, so I call it the debug menu of reality. Cyrus will get a kick out of this because I call it the action replay. What is that? Oh, it's some old thing that you stick on your old Nintendo cartridges if you want to like get into the debug menu and make that damn game Ninja Gaiden finally beatable, because I do agree with Cyrus that Ninja Gaiden is probably the most difficult game next to Silver Surfer for the NES. Now, there's also a very, very, very difficult game, and that game is, funny enough, again, is Ninja Gaiden, again for the Xbox. That game, I think Cyrus, when he was a kid, played like the first level for 20 minutes, never picked it up again. I don't know how people are this good at video games on your planet. I think it's something to do with Earth magic power, because the people of Earth have a lot of magical power that allows them to do things that pretty much people, even the human civilizations of my world, of Magalas, they cannot do. So, well, where was I? You know me, I'm always in 6 places at once. Yes, so no, you can just go out of your body, or even more easily, you can project yourself. This is called creating a projection form, by just visualizing yourself in the spirit reality and going over someplace. So the spirit reality is a gradient over our reality. People do die, they go into the spirit reality, and then they migrate into what we call the soul collectives, which are non-physical realities where you can just create things with your mind. Is there a problem with that? No, but yes. No, because these are heavenly realities that are the spirit reality. So this is where we go into spiritualism. This is where we go into all those subjects everyone talks so much about. Now, do keep in mind that the soul collectives, for example, are, shall we say, the soul collectives are realities that are on the same world we're in, and the same reality. It's all the same reality, but you cannot physically, you can physically do things that feels physical, but it's a mental reality. So if you want to pick an apple off a tree, you have an apple. If you want the apple to turn into a little replica kitten, the kitten will jump off your hand, and then by the time the kitten hits the ground, it becomes a pineapple. Now, this sounds like an acid trip, because it is. People who are on psychedelics are generally connected into the non-physical, the mental, the magical realities. And this is a part of the gradient of existence. And so us spirit beings, which is all of us, we sometimes don't want to be on that gradient, and we move into the physical, and we end up in a physical body. Physical body has always been around. It's the biology has always been around. Isn't that interesting? How long has biology been around? A very, very long time. In fact, if I were to give actual numerical values about creation, it would be very, very, very bad news, because some people who are existentialists would flip out. But you don't have to flip out if you just stay in what we call the light of God, the light of creation. So when have you ever seen someone who is channeling someone from the spirit world, which is the spirit world, which is actually our world right now, a guy who lives around Tempe, and let's just say I sometimes hit up the sports bars a little too much, and so that's just me up there. And so to go back to what we were saying, so I found Cyrus by just going to the spirit reality, finding him, and staying around him in his life. And he never knew it until we made contact last year, which was a bit awkward, because I was I was kind of setting it up to be this big epic thing when he discovers who I really am, but I should have been more straightforward. Cyrus is sometimes my spirit guide because Cyrus teaches all of us to be more straightforward and not to always be planning planning everything 6 ways from Sunday, always going this way, this way, this way, this way. It's much better sometimes to be on the straight and narrow. So I became Cyrus's guide this way because I found out Cyrus already had an oodle of other guides. Some crazy goddess over here. Who is this chick? Minerva, Ashtar. I know who the Ashtari are. They're the Andromedans. Just Google them. Was the 1977 Ashtari broadcast? They're all over your planet. There was Ashtari visiting him. People from these mythical realities, which is very interesting to me. There were other, what you call extraterrestrials. Basically, hanging around Cyrus, hanging around this kid was this whole party. There's all these different people hanging around, watching over Cyrus because Cyrus has a little bit of what they call royal extraterrestrial blood in him, which Cyrus doesn't care about because it's like, what matters is what are we doing here in this life. Whatever we do when we graduate into the higher cosmos, that's one thing. But what matters is also what we do in this. So now, Cyrus, do you have any more questions for me? Well, no, it's fine. Just if you want to let people know, like, what is it that is preventing us from like being able to physically meet, or why is it wrong, or not wrong? Why would it be a bad idea for me to go on Facebook? And because I can see your photo, because the people watching, it's funny because he describes what he looks like perfectly, and I can see with my mind's eye. So when I found his Facebook page, this is the same exact guy, of course. So what's stopping me from messaging you on Facebook, Jim? Okay, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, Cyrus, I thought you'd never ask. Wait, this was me getting off track. So if you, Cyrus, would have messaged me on Facebook, well, what would happen is I would never be able to look at my Facebook. And what's stopping me from driving down to Tucson and visiting you is because if I were to do that, the collective consciousness would probably give me a permanent out-of-body experience, if you know what I mean. Excuse me, that was actually me, Cyrus, sorry. I'm actually drinking iced tea and lemonade while I do this. And I realize it's not always a good idea because, funny, it's one of these things, I was almost going to cuss. I was going to say a shit you, not nobody cuss. That Cyrus would be able to taste the iced tea and lemonade if I were drinking it. So you see, this is how fun it is on a higher psychic reality when everyone can do this type of thing. You can prank people, you can do this, but it can also be this grand, intimate thing when we can kind of possess each other and be each other in a way. And this is a natural talent that people have across the cosmos. And by cosmos, I mean a very big place with many, many, many universes. Now, the collective consciousness would bite me in the ass, excuse me, if I were to go to see Cyrus. Why? Because this phenomenon, number one, it's so fantastic, it's so spectacular, it's so weird, the collective consciousness wouldn't allow it to happen. But then if it does happen, every scaredy cat, every fickle soul, every jerk, and we say fickle soul a lot around here, by the way. So I think the whole team, we always say fickle souls, fickle souls, fickle souls, fickle souls. What does that mean? It means a soul who's going this way and that way and is influenced by the system, by the machine, by the materialists, by the academics, by the broken law enforcement agencies. Let's not forget the broken, let's say, family rights legal systems that really screw people over. All of this stuff that's completely broken on our planet. People just go along with it because they don't know who to believe. They follow the authorities. And the fickle souls out there, which is maybe half of us, I don't know, are people who are told by, I don't know, some stupid broadcasting, whatever, some stupid TV show that says it's impossible to communicate mentally or telepathically or do this type of thing. And they're so deeply embedded into physicalism, materialism, atheism, other isms, that they reject this so hard on a massive level. If people collectively, the collective consciousness, which is a very, very very, unfortunately, very, very real subject on this planet. It's, shall we say, collectively, the consciousness would be so terrified of this, it would zoom in on where it's happening and blasts both Cyrus and myself, but especially myself, with so much negative energy. It would make me very sick, and it would be goodbye, Jim, because I'd be off of this world. And I mean, I'd be in my house lying on the floor dead, because there would be souls that would want to actually destroy me, people from this world who do not tolerate that this kind of thing can be real. But why? It's pretty neat. Well, here's the thing. By Cyrus making this video, by you maybe hopefully sharing this video, what it's doing is it's integrating people into allowing this to happen. Now, Cyrus, at the beginning of this video, shared some pointers on how you can actually do this type of channeling yourself. And I was just thinking back for a second, and it's important, and I think it's really good to go in your comments, go into Cyrus's comments and leave a comment and talk about if you've had any experiences, what you learned. Because I'm going to do a quick recap here. So when I migrated into this universe, it's very fascinating, because here's a universe where this is a lower universe, and you have these higher universes called higher densities. You got our universe and 1, 2, 3 higher densities. And our universe is totally broken away, segmented away from these higher realities, which is the same places a lot of people go into when they die. These are very fantastic worlds, which here's how we can call it, everybody, science fiction realities. My world, pretty tragic one. I wouldn't say we're a science fiction reality. Sometimes we're a little bit of a horror reality. It was not very nice in my world until we had to come together and fix it. And we fixed it by integrating the collective consciousness to allowing great wondrous and magical types of things to happen on our world. The same thing is happening on your world. So you have these 4 levels of universe, right? There's your crappy low level one, and then there's what we call the 5th density, the 6th density, the 7th density, using technical terminologies. So I was very amazed to find, it's like a wedding cake. There's 4 different universes stacked on top. Everybody wants to go to the top one, the 7th density. Then I go around the 7th density because I can put myself places because I'm Jim. And what happens is I notice it's pretty amazing because it's a high energy reality where you can kind of move around and teleport around and do fantastic things which would be magical and wondrous. But it wasn't that magical. It's this universe where you got the Andromedans, the Ashtari, the Aldmari, the Lyrans, and the Arcturns, the Aldebaran. These are all like the main civilizations. And they tend to all have guns pointed at each other. It tends to be like the Old West. And I'm a bit surprised to find that, because I think the original intent of these universes was to be a wondrous progression of souls. Well, the good news is it is now, because those wars, these ancient rivalries are all done. You know why? Because there's this group called the Angels, the Archangels. They came from another universe as well. What are they doing now? Well, now they are in charge. They are arbitrating this whole scene, all these universes. And they've changed it all. The wars are over, the really big ones anyway. And these 3 levels of universe above us are basically, shall we say, universes that are higher realities that are all getting fixed up, all patched up basically. And it's so weird because people are like, well, the 7th density is this beautiful high energy reality where we can teleport ourselves, and it's closer to the spirit reality, so we can like manifest things, and everything is weird and wild. So why even go down to the lower density universes? Well, that's the thing. It actually doesn't really matter, because there is this old idea that we need to die, and I think there's some people on YouTube who talk a lot about this thing, whether David Wilcock, that we need to progress up through a scale of enlightenment to reach the top. Well, this scale of enlightenment, sorry, my nose is itchy, or is that Cyrus's nose itchy? I think it might be Cyrus's nose being itchy. This scale of enlightenment is not a scale of enlightenment, because if you want to reach 7th density consciousness, you can train yourself through physical process to be able to access a higher density. And that actually includes what we notice yogis doing, which is being in deep states of clear-minded meditation for as long as possible, because what they're doing is attempting to reach the 7th density consciousness. So this is something yogis in India do, because when they get to 7th density consciousness, they have the ability to soul, to travel, to manifest themselves up on the highest density universe, where they can meet their ancestors and all the other yogis. So Cyrus's mouth is dry. Hold on. Yeah. So they can meet all their ancestors. So when you see a yogi in deep meditation, often they are achieving this high state of consciousness so they can go up to the top. But when you're at the top, it's quite a marvelous reality. I mean, it would be heavenly and wondrous by the standards of the people of your world. But yet it's also not, because it's only as wondrous as the souls that it comprises itself of. So you can be on a top level reality like that. But what if the souls are no good? What if, because this is, I mean, it's like the most basic stuff ever, but to be honest, it feels like I'm teaching a kindergarten class when I'm on your planet, because I'm Jim, so I can be in different places at the same time. And, you know, on your planet, it's like people seem to equate spiritual enlightenment, purity, and morality with like meditation. Actually, no, you have to, you learn morality by understanding right and wrong. And everyone has to get these weird ideas out of their minds that Cyrus has been, very passionately against, which is great. I didn't even have to inspire Cyrus that way. It's just the way Cyrus and I both think alike. That's why I became Cyrus's guide and mentor. Because you see, Cyrus way back was talking about this in his books, is that there's this idea that, life is a big theater, or there's all these misconceptions about the higher self, right? And, we actually are this perfect being, and life is a stage. We're just puppets on puppet strings. And that nothing matters, morality doesn't matter, nothing matters. And there's weird places, there's institutes, a couple come to mind, that really push some of these ideas out on the world. And what's going on is that these ideas is that morality isn't so necessary, because we are all a higher self, and then we all rejoin God when we die, and we can do whatever we want, because life is a big theater, life is a stage, life is a game, and that's it. And so we can do whatever we want. And what is there to worry about? We don't have to worry about anything. We don't, because we're never going to be judged. Oh, this is bad. I can tell you this is bad, because I've been around the block, and I'm 7 million years old. So I've been to a lot of universes, a lot of worlds. And the worlds and the civilizations that decay and fall apart have these strange ideas. It's never going to be like that. We are always self-responsible for ourselves. So I know this kind of work takes the energy out of Cyrus, so we'll have to finish soon. So Cyrus can be out of this trance, which isn't, I would say it's halfway trance, halfway not trance. In fact, if I knock on there, it's like Cyrus is home. Well, he is home. He's just up there somewhere waiting for me to shut up. Okay, so let's just put it this way. So this wonderful density structure cosmos, some people seem to think that when you become enlightened enough to hit the top density, then you have really arrived, and we're getting closer and closer back to God. No, this is a very strange, I would say, it's kind of this old Andromedan way of thinking, but it's not connected to reality. Because you can hit 7th density consciousness by just doing a repetitive practice over and over again. So it doesn't happen. Enlightenment is living and working on a really rough planet like this, and being in close connection and kinship and camaraderie, and learning how to love, and have love for the small things, have magic in your heart, and being a good person, and just be living in a wondrous existence, and being what we call karmically stable, karmically ascended. So it's not possible to hurt innocent people. Karmically ascended people can be some rough people. It could be a biker, with a Glock in the back of his jeans, or a criminal, or a vagabond, or a thief. But if they live their lives making sure it's impossible to hurt an innocent person, then they are on a way of living where they are no longer able to be selfish like that, to hurt people. and that's called having great karma. So so that's actually the pathway of God, the pathway of enlightenment. So what's going on here? Well, we're in a universe structure where we ascend, we go up to the other higher density versions of the same universe, in a sense, going to the top where it's a big, beautiful, unbelievable, magnanimous, beautiful, glorious existence, or so people think. Because it's not if the souls residing there are all equating spiritual progression with how much they meditate to get to the top, but it has nothing to do with that. This is just obvious. So why am I offending people by talking about this? Because surely people will be offended. It's like I am more spiritually enlightened than you are. I'm a better vegan than you are. I'm a better I'm a better meditator than you are. I'm a better it's like this strange way of looking at life that I see on this planet. This is why this planet has such a problem with so many delusional, delirious types of souls. So when it comes to the afterlife, let's just put it this way. These are higher realities. We can die and go to the soul collectives. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend going to the higher realities so we can continue to live and learn. Because while I might be 7 million years old, there's many civilizations where that's a common age. What is death then? Well, death is reincarnation. Death is when someone shrugs off what they once were and their souls shift and migrate into a new being, and they lose the entire memory structure. And to quote the often misunderstood book, The Law of One, it's the social memory complex. Now, half that book is bullshit. It's not real, and another half of it is real because it was not translated properly. Don't tell David Wilcock that. But nonetheless, that's the thing. Is that we have to keep in mind. Let me gather my thoughts. It's like in these universes, what we call the afterlife are these higher realities that our souls manifest into, and we are brought into them, and that's what makes these universes so special and so amazing. Is that we can pass away here, but like I was saying, my age is actually a common age in the cosmos. And people do pass away, people do die, and then because their souls move on. Well, that's a part of life, but I know people who are so ancient, I don't even want to say how old they are, because people watching would go loopy. Because of course there has to be linear time. Life is not a simulation, I'm sorry. Life is actually the great, great interconnected reality. If you want to be inspired, go on Google and type in fantasy artwork. Go find the most beautiful images you can imagine, and a lot of those images are channeled, and those are real places. When you're living in worlds that are so unbelievably beautiful, then you'll understand what life is all about, and that the world you're on right now is complete garbage. Complete garbage. The politics is garbage, the judicial system is garbage, the legal systems and the family rights system, I'm trying to stay politically correct because I don't want to screw up Cyrus's channel, because I have a lot of stuff I'd like to talk about, but I'm not going to do it. So I have to probably go soon because I want Cyrus to wrap up this video. But you see, there's so much to talk about, and I can be on Cyrus's channel soon maybe, because the collective consciousness is changing, and all of us who have to keep our identity secret can come out. Because if I were to correspond my memories of my 7 million year old life to my life in Tempe, Arizona, the collective consciousness would zap me. It would probably kill me, because it would be that flipped out by me. But as the collective consciousness integrates that wild, wondrous things exist, then I'll be able to finally come out of hiding, and so will about 9 to 10% of planet Earth, who are all people from the cosmos. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure it's someone in your life. It seemed like an alien. So finally, let's just keep this in mind. So if your universe is the bottom level and there's these higher realities, and the goal is not to get to the top reality. The top reality is just the one that is closest in essence to the spirit reality, while still being a totally physical reality at the same time. And if you go below that, sorry, there's a scratch in my, I had to scratch something in Cyrus's ear, like, And if you go from, let's say, the next level up, we call the fifth density, that's a wondrous, unbelievable, heavenly reality compared to the piece of crap planet you're on. Sixth density is really outstanding. That's the place that, sixth density Earth, there's so much, shall we say, because I remember we have a moderator on Facebook, Idaponch, I was reading this earlier, not through Cyrus's eyes. I can't go on his Facebook on my computer, but it was about the golden age of Hollywood, right? So the sixth density Earth is where so much of the golden age of Hollywood continues. The seventh density Earth, well, that's a funny story. We'll talk about what that place is like at some point. But it's this progress. But is it? Because the point is not to get to the top. The point is to, well, live a wonderful life. You don't. It's not like it's that same weird, overly zealous career ambition. Just crazy bull. Bull shit. I don't want to get Cyrus in trouble. That's in people's minds. You have to get to the top. You don't have to get to the top. You have to get to the top of the company. You have to get to the top of the career ladder. Get to the top of your profession. Be the top lawyer. All that stuff. So you see, I'm kind of pausing on purpose here to see how Cyrus feels, and I think it's time to go. So there's no reason to have to get to the top. There's no reason to have to push it and always be like, I have to, be the most enlightened, and I have to go to the highest level universe. No, it's not like that. These different levels, these different scales of the densities it's a gradient system that we can experience in different levels. And we can enjoy each one, including the lowest level. The lowest level is the least energetic. Higher levels, people all communicate mentally if they wish, like I'm doing with Cyrus. And this is normal. So are many other things. The fifth density is full of amazing things that your Earth does not have, including so many ancestors and even people's deceased loved ones who are all living up there in the fifth density. So one last thing, if you hear people call the fifth density or the sixth or seventh density the fifth dimension, it's a mistranslation. Okay, we're talking about densities, dimensions. These are concepts in astrophysics, so let's not go there. One more thing, these higher realities, it's more outstanding than you can possibly imagine. And I know that because I can go into them, because I'm Jim. And the shift is going to be when we can all lose what we call the avatars. We can stop having to pretend to be these other people. If I met Cyrus, I would have to pretend I didn't know him. But I would give him a little bit of a wink. I'd give him a wink like this. And then that's about the most I could do right now, which is still a lot more than I used to be able to do. In fact, Cyrus met a girl who was a waitress at Waffle House last week. And so this woman was from a different planet, a planet called Radarna. And Cyrus was syncing his thoughts to her while she was preparing. I think Cyrus bought a big waffle that day. It was like, I don't know, like with sausage. And so she walks over and smiles at Cyrus and walks over again while they were syncing their thoughts, looks at Cyrus in the face and gives him this really like knowing smile like this. And the collective consciousness zapped her for it. It almost killed her. It made her so sick. But by her doing that, it integrated the consciousness of the entire planet Earth. Because this young woman is a hero. Young, roughly. I think she's like 100 years old, but she's there working at Waffle House, snuck right into our civilization. And she just smiling at Cyrus and recognizing that they were communicating this way, the collective consciousness was like, oh my god, is a space alien, get her. Well, so many space aliens work on our planet to try to help. And they sneak into politics, they sneak into YouTube channels, and sometimes they even become pop stars. I'm going to finish up by just saying, well, who in media is from space? People are always thinking like, is it the Queen who's a reptile? No. A lot of artists are actually people who are spliced in. I'm going to think of a name that might top up into my head. Let's see. Many people are wondering, is David Bowie? No, he's from Earth. is a very magical guy from the Glandian Soul group, which is very interesting. This crazy planet that's so connected to your world, Glandia. Who else? Because I'm trying not to like be too ridiculous here, and I know I need to get going. So what's a crazy celebrity? Because I'm trying to think of something that Cyrus doesn't even know about, which will be wild and weird. How about what's a good one? How about we're getting there. Elijah Wood. See, Elijah Wood, maybe you might have noticed has a different peculiar element to him when you were watching him, maybe Lord of the Rings or whatever. There's a kind of magical element about him, yeah, because our dear friend Elijah is not from our world. He is an avatar. Now, I can't say from where yet, because I'm trying to be respectful to some of these operations, but so there's a lot of human worlds out there, and some of them are very fantastic. So our dear boy Elijah is going to, someday, I'll bet he'll watch this video and be like, oh, you guys were calling me out. Well, I figure he's famous enough that I don't think anyone on this channel is going to mess with him, but I think it would be funny just to mention, because I know I have a database of all the people in this world who are not from this world, and you wouldn't really tell unless you really got in close. How about maybe just one more just for fun? Okay, because again, I was thinking about films like The Lord of the Rings. What other cast members? Sean Bean. Yeah, Sean Bean. I think he was in a film called Goldeneye. And you notice what a wondrous presence he has. That he's maybe much older than he looks, because he commands a presence so well. Well, that's because this dude is like, many thousands of years old. So they splice onto our Earth to change things. Also, I believe there's a show called Doctor Who. Right, who is this one doctor? I believe his name is Matt Smith. Aldebaran. He's Aldebaran from the Aldebaran civilizations, which are, as Cyrus calls them, the space Romans. These guys have been around the world, on the Earth, for a long time. I'm sure Cyrus, my dear son Cyrus, is going to be channeling some of them. Okay, well, this is Jim. Guess what I need to do? So I need to actually package and ship a whole bunch of beauty products as part of my drop shipping company, which is not a bad way to make money if you know what you're doing. And I was just encouraging Cyrus, teaching English is fun. I really like, Cyrus wrote this book called How to Quit Your Job. I didn't have any part of it, but I watched him write it, and I'm really with him on that. It's about escaping the system sometimes, and so drop shipping is a nice way to do that. So is teaching English. So is a number of different businesses that you can get involved in if you want to escape the grind. What do they call that? Transcription work. You have a little pedal and you press it and you're typing. Even that is a nice way sometimes, like finding work online. And then you don't have to, commute. You don't have to deal with office politics, because there's nothing scarier, I think, in the cosmos than planet Earth office politics, because them bitches are crazy on this world. There's weirdos. They will entrap you and enslave your mind. Earth has the weirdest, craziest people probably ever, because Earth is a world of Gaia, as it's called. Gaia is a world of power. People are born on Gaia to harness its power. So souls choose to be born upon Gaia to have the great power of Gaia. So we don't want that. So, with that said, I'm now going to disconnect and get back to packaging Chinese-made beauty products. And no, if you happen to find my store online, I do not sell like weird ingredients in these products. I make sure that if possible, it's actually something close to being fair trade, because I don't want anyone putting on some weird cosmetic that has like let's say aluminum filaments in it that are getting into your skin. Very bad stuff. That means a lot to me, so I make sure that I work with good companies in China and Russia sometimes as well. Anyway, so that's I don't think you'll be finding my store, but you never know, you might. Okay, this is now Jim, and I'm leaving Cyrus's mind. Okay, so well, everybody, so this is Cyrus. I'm now back. So that was Jim speaking as a Jim. Pretty much control over my body if I allow it. And that's the thing about this kind of work is that you don't. It's only as much as you allow to happen. And if it's too much, you can shut it off. But if I would just keep my mind clear, I could it could be Jim walking around the room as I would essentially be him. And what is fascinating is that this is a skill that is all over the place, basically. That is in the higher cosmos. So I'll have to rewatch this to kind of remember everything that was being said. But this is channeling, and this is the Great Cosmic Shift with Cyrus Kirkpatrick. Thank you for watching. Yep, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, I do these sessions one-on-one for people for donations or whatever, just to help keep this show going. Because I do a lot of work, and any help is appreciated. It's also I do mediumship for people as well. As long as we understand the expectations, as long as we understand it, this type of work, like there are blocks in place. It's not so easy. It can't be like, Cyrus, tell me the name of my pet dog, so I know if that were the case, then people who can communicate this way would be so powerful that they would take over the planet. But I can bring up specifics, but I like to set those expectations straight, because it's something every single medium faces. It's like, well, I don't believe this is real because I asked for the name of my dog and you said Toto, but my dog's name is Fido. These are called anti-sabotage blocks, because if it wasn't for these, then the information would be so accurate. People would be out winning the lottery. There would be no lottery. There would be no casinos. Civilization would fall apart. So there has to be blocks put in place. But you can work around those blocks when you're good, especially when it comes to things in the physical reality around you. It's why mediums are so talented at finding bodies out buried out in the desert, because good mediums can hone in on bodies, for example, or hone in on where something's buried at, or many other ways. But the way it gets messed up is if I said, if I'm syncing to Jim and I'm like, Jim, can you go spy and read the memories of my roommate and tell me what the name of her dog is? And he'll say something and it won't be what it's that. I'll be hearing it literally differently. It's like it's scrambled. The signal gets scrambled if I'm trying to operate on a close logistical level. Who scrambles it? Well, this is about mass collective intention. One of the very great powers of the cosmos is a group known as the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki, they're these tall-headed beings, or like this. I might bring one on the show to channel, actually. And these guys, they're very powerful minds, and they can collectively put their intent together to change protocols, to change how, for example, people mentally sync, to disrupt it and cause blocks. Why? As a way to preserve civilizations, or else mental powers would become completely out of control. So, but nonetheless, mediumship still works, especially also for past life readings. And so that's also something that I do sometimes for people. But anyway, so that's it for tonight's video, and I'm now going to get some tea, take a walk, and maybe do another video, because guess what? Channeling for me is fun. I love being in someone else's thoughts and feeling their emotions, having them think through me and talk through me. To me, it's endlessly exciting. And if I'm doing it myself, I'm just in a two-way communication, just like that. It's like a Skype call. That's how amazing it is. But don't take my word for it. Try it out yourself. This is Cyrus with the Great Cosmic Shift. I'll see you next time.